So I mean, I hope you enjoyed the last video, previous video, the 201 bicycle. If there is like a popular demand, I might continue even tonight, because there are many things that should be said. But if not, we can wait till tomorrow or after that. I'm still need to recuperate, like, to get my voice back, because maybe I'll do it today if it's really interesting. What I wanted to do, like, very short video now, also to praise the Lord, which is very important, and to say thanks to the God that helps me all the time and deliver me from the problem of from the many cruelties of the Israelis. And I want to say something regarding the symbolic language, because a lot of people, many people are very interested in this symbolic language. And in Israel, I know that for some time at least, they regarded it as kind of like a cryptic thing, that an alien language that maybe only I know, and I should give them all my information, because so they can speak with the aliens, which is ridiculous, because they can speak with me using Hebrew or English or a little bit of Spanish, and all the rest okay, let's not speak about the Israelis. They're so stupid. But of course, the major issue is, I think that one of the major issues that that makes people, makes it more difficult for people to actually understand it from the symbolic language that I described like for at least 2 years now, and is closely related to my paintings. Even for me, it was a problem for some time, just to get over misconceptions. But the fact that it's symbolic doesn't mean that it's fixed like that. That the symbols have like a fixed meaning, because in any language that is used to communicate in the real world, there is an issue of context that is changing, and the issue of movement of signifiers. The fact that it is that I speak with neros, like with microbots or with spaceship, that doesn't matter. Doesn't mean that they have like a fixed, that the language should be more like strict, or I don't know, like rigorous, or something computer. Presumably, this is all childish ideas. Like it's much more closer to natural languages of humans than to programming languages, because why should it be that way? It lives in a context like any other languages is used for communication in the real world, and so there is the issue of context and of changing meaning over time. And I also can and do set meanings of signifiers, and when I set these meanings, even though maybe before I actually used it, maybe it wasn't always used that way, or maybe wasn't that. It wasn't it didn't have a strong footprint in the semantic field. It didn't carry an immediate connotation, because I speak with the neros, with these nanobots, microbots, and spaceships. It is if I took something and took a word or a symbol and gave it kind of meaning, important meaning, then it's part of the language. So, for example, today, if you remember, what I've done today is that I placed these two paintings. So this is paintings that actually it looks better in real life. It doesn't translate well in reproduction. It's one of the Venus bonded, 4 Venus bonded paintings, and this one is. I hope that I'll be able to actually sell it, not because surely it contains stone of life forms and evidence like all other paintings in acrylic, of course also in oil, but this is in acrylic mostly. But because there is a problem maybe of IP, because I admit that it is based on a photograph of Lynn Crow, a real woman with a real photograph, and I hope it's enough change, that it can count a derivative work and not a painting of the photograph. I really like her. It's like as a model for like a painting. I have never met her, unfortunately. So, and also I also like also place this one like just beside it. This is a cicada, and the cicada I always said like it's like a while ago, a couple of months ago, I started to create like a series of like natural paintings, which is not typical to me, but I thought maybe let's do something atypical. And this is like I call it like chayot artzenu, like it's a kind of like an expression that says the animals of our country. It's kind of like the animals that are common in our land. Like and I said that so I also drew I painted like a fox, which of course is you can understand that the fox is extremely. But I said that it's only the second, the one that the most common is of course the cicada, not the fox, which is extremely common in Israel, as you understand, and because of the noise, of course. I've had the opportunity to actually meet cicadas like real ones in the Amazonas, and the noise is unbearable, just like in Israel. So you see that there is like behind like Lincro, we have an outlet of electricity. Actually, the only outlet is in this room. One of the problems in this small room is that I have only one outlet of like socket of electricity, and everything is like format like using cable. So there is like a cable from right from here to actually all of every actually appliances. Everything is actually driven from there with cable. So the cable went from there up to here. And the iPhone for some time was like placed like that, like just like leaning on the Israeli flag, and so and there was and there was something like that was running in the iPhone, there was the song Run to the Jungle, or one of probably Run to the Jungle. So what does it symbolize? What does it mean? It's going to be very hard for you to understand, but it's the only people that can actually solve this riddle are people that actually listen to me, because I've spoken about it many, like at least in 3 different occasions in the last 18 months. Like the first time was maybe 18 months ago, and again like 3 or 4 months ago, and again like maybe a month ago or 2 weeks ago. So if you remember, what I've said, maybe you have follow me for a long time, you can solve the riddle. But if you are a newcomer to this channel, or only listen to very few videos and forgot everything, you cannot like decrypt this because this is a conundrum, like what's going on. So this is actually the case is like that. The iPhone is actually many times it's a symbol of the gate, and as I said, the gates, the wormhole, they have many symbols. They are not only one, and it depends on the context. Like there are seven. This could be like a symbol of the gate. Okay. Presumably, okay. So this one can also be like a symbol of the gate, the ugly gate, as they say, the ugly gate. So, there are all sorts of like symbols. Depends on and there's also the symbol of a gate, not the gate, but a gate, which is, as I said, something that looks like the Neros actually actually they themselves draw it to me. As I said. If you remember that the Neros draw a lot of things, they are excellent in drawing, like amazing stuff in the microscopic level. They have amazing comparison. This was proven many times in this channel. It's not science fiction. I have like a ton of evidence. So they themselves actually, and sometimes they draw things for me too. This is two-side communication. Sometimes it's not just I paint for them. Sometimes they paint for me, they draw for me as well. So they draw something like that to represent like a gate from their this is documented. Everything that I say is like right now is documented in videos. It's not science fiction. It's reality. So this is also a gate, but from the functional perspective of if you want to tell the Nero create a gate, you will probably, draw something like that, because this is a functional representation of the wormhole, without specific location, because presumably you want it right here, or not. That just means that this is like, I mean, that a symbol can have many like things that it symbolizes, like many semantic objects that are related to it, and the other way, like, I mean, the same semantic entity can have many symbols that, I mean, that are linked to it. But the iPhone and the iPads are common symbols, like of the gates, and you can understand why, because, I mean, when they are like that, it's like, I mean, that the gate is of course closed, but maybe like that is now, maybe now the gate is like open. You understand? And of course, I mean, there is the white iPhone, the mini iPhone, and the regular iPhone, with the iPad, and the regular iPad, which is black, and so it also means, that's also meaning, because, you know, the backgrounds matters much. I mean, if you remember. So this actually, the iPhone is actually a symbol of a gate, and when it's playing, and it was playing like for a time, for when it was there, like it was connected to like, it was charged, so it was connected to the socket, but it was playing here, so it was like an open gate. It was an open gate, because you I mean, you could have seen like the like, I mean, the video of, like, the YouTube video of, like, Run to the Jungle or something like that. So this is an open gate, and this is the Israeli gate, because of course it lies on the dirty flag of Israel. And if you follow me throughout my experimentation, you know that electrical wire with electricity running through it, it means that, I mean, a strong symbol for the Neros. This was discussed many times in the various, like, electrolysis videos. There are dozens of electrolysis videos already, and we've discussed it a lot, that, I mean, this is a way to signify that an object is an important part of the symbolic structure, like with a wire with electricity flows through it. I mean, if you follow me, and I hope that at least some people followed me along the last couple of, like, 6 or 7 months, this is a recurring object of a wire that with the flow, the currents, the electrical current flows through it. So the only question that is left is, what does this mean? Like, I mean, the Israeli gate connected through a wire with electrical flow to this painting of Sphinx. What does it mean? Interesting. So first, it's not only here, but it's also the cicada that, I mean, I both of them were I mean, placed on the wall today together. So this is a little bit maybe, I mean, again, to understand it, you need to actually not the issue is here is not to try to, like, to decrypt the alien mind, but you need to just listen to me, just to follow my own language, because I use many, like, my own terminology, like, in the last 4 years that I speak about all these issues, like, so I've spoken so much. So, I mean, try to remember, if you will really listen to me, I mean, especially during the last, like, 6 or 7 months, but this is true for the last 4 years. So this was actually one of the symbols of the guardians. Like, when we have the 3 arcs, so remember the 3 arcs. The 3 arcs experiment. It was a very important experiment that was done here in this hostel, like maybe 3 months ago. Very important. The 3 arcs. It was done with open, in very atypical way, with open containers. The 3 arcs. It's a 1 week experiment that I studied. I learned a lot from it. It was very impressive from artistic, also from artistic point of view, if you remember. So one of the arcs, I mean, this was the symbol of the cherub, just like that. It looked just like that. There were 2 of these. So this was cemented in the minds of the Neos as one of the symbols of the cherubs, because it was in one of the arcs. Like, there were 2 of these, like one opposed to the other. And this, of course, looks like a cherub. I mean, it's a cherub, like, I mean, like cherub, like from the, you know, from the from the Ark of the Covenant. I mean, presumably, I hope it's not like too much of a blasphemy. And I know that some people that listen to me are like religious, and not only religious. I mean, I am also, of course, I am very religious. I strongly believe in God, but I mean, maybe they are more pious than I am, and such things can be like off taste for them. But this is reality. I mean, symbols are changing, like, and they change, like, meaning with time. So this painting is in a way, I mean, a representation of the for cherub, female cherub, because we know that even though today, I mean, when like in the Indiana Jones and the Ark of the Covenant and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, so I mean, like it's very common to actually paint the to represent the cherubs as two identical objects. But actually, the question, this is like that in the Indiana Jones, but it's also like that in many other depiction of the Ark. But it should be said that the question of how the cherubs looked on the Ark is actually a question that, I mean, it's an open question since the day of the Chazal. Like, I mean, 2,000 years ago, they didn't know. I mean, it was all, and throughout the 2,000 years, there were many opinions on to what actually, how does the cherub look like? And this is not. There is a biblical depiction in the book of Melachim Aleph, or Kings 1 or Kings 3. I mean, depends on on if you title like Samuel like his independent title or Kings 1 and 2. So there is actually a depiction, but you don't really understand. I mean, more of the size and material. And so it's a question of the cherubs. And also the cherubs, of course, are also famously referred in the book of Ezekiel, and then, I mean, they have like four kinds, like the four kinds. And actually along the years, I mean, the common interpretation for the Ark of the Covenant was that these were actually humans, men and women. Not as it is depicted today as like two children or two men, but actually men and a woman. This was like the common interpretation. I don't know when they started to do it like in the Raiders of the Ark, in like two identical creatures. So the fact that she's a woman doesn't like make that fact that it doesn't mean that she cannot be a cherub. On the contrary, I mean this was the common interpretation throughout like thousands of years, that the cherubs were like the ones on the covenant the covenant were two, and they are important for us because I mostly deal with the cherubs. I mean, when I speak about the cherubs, not regarding to myself, it is with regard to the electrolysis like chamber experiment, and there were many of these. So this is part of my language. I cemented these like creatures as part of my terminology. So this, of course, is a cherub, and this is a cherub. So it means that the gate from Israel will be linked in a wire to another gate that is signified by cherubs. Now, what gate in earth is signified by the cherubs? The answer is that I don't know, because I've never seen a gate in my life. Certainly didn't pass through it, and I never seen one, and I never even seen a painting of such one. I don't know. I only have all sorts of like hypotheses of where there can actually be. Like, of course, in Israel, but also other places. But I've never seen any of these. And I don't know how they look. It's a complete mystery to me. And of course, what does it even mean how they look? I mean, maybe they don't look like anything, but I mean, there is probably ornamental layer around it or maybe several ornamental layers that were built by, like, probably by all sorts of like cultures, that maybe came way long after, the actual gates were created. It's almost certainly the fact. Like, it will be surprising if it's not like that. So when we speak about like how the gates look, they might not look like anything at all, but mostly they can be identified by their background and also by the ornamental layer that presumably, I'm almost certain that was added by cultures, throughout the years. So what kind of a culture could actually use cherubs as an ornamental layer for the gate? You can say the Israeli, not the Israeli, but the ones in Canaan, like like the old ones, like the old Canaanites or something like that, which is a possibility. But actually, cherubs are very rare in Israeli archaeology, very, very rare. They're important in the Bible, but they are very rare in Israeli archaeology. And also, it doesn't really make sense to link Israeli gate to another Israeli gate. So it's probably something else. So another question, another question for the trivia lovers. What was the first photograph that was ever taken, like the first photograph in history that was taken in Iran.